The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available on Amazon.
The Mike Wagner Show, also brought to you by Illuminatical, the think tank of the future. The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, available on Amazon, highlighting the Book of David, and Heidi Tam Music, with her latest on HeidiTamMusic.com.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosinzia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with a terrific multi-talent singer-songwriter who serves as a District 9 state trooper and also earned the Sullivan Brothers Award of Valor as the first responder who was injured while saving 2 lives of a Parkersburg tornado in 2008. Also, Navy Lieutenant Commander, serving as a member of the Funeral Honors Team and also the advice trainer for NATO ACT unit or the ACT unit. Talk more about that. He began his amazing career singing beside his mom on the piano at 7 and watched shows at the Grandolopry with his dad. And his dad later bought him his first guitar. And he also played in college, began songwriting in 82. And he's got a great story, great career behind it. And it's also got an album out, which is featuring Get a Little Love, Don't Go, and more as well, too. Just pure country gospel at its finest. I mean, you're going to listen to this great story. Live, ladies and gentlemen, the Plus Studio somewhere in beautiful Iowa, the amazing multi-talent singer-songwriter who's served as a District 9 state trooper and also have an amazing career in the armed forces, saving lives as well, too, and also capturing hearts with the Souhrada country music album. What's behind it? We'll find out with the multi-talent, ladies and gentlemen, Todd Souhrada. Todd, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Sure, thank you.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Todd. So you're a multi-talent singer-songwriter, and you been involved as a District 9 state trooper. You earned the Sullivan Brothers Award of Valor as the first responder who was injured while saving 2 lives after a tornado in 2008. And you also serve as Navy Lieutenant Commander, member of the Funeral Home Honors Team, and also advisor trainer for NATO ACT unit. You began career sitting beside your mom at a piano, watched a Grand Ole Opry with your dad, and your dad bought you a guitar, and you later played in college, began songwriting in 82, and this all came together in your country music album. Talk about some of the music, and before getting all that, Todd, tell us how you first got started.
Well, love country music since I was a kid, and I used to listen to Grand Ole Opry with my dad, and I was the youngest of 3 boys, so I usually got the physical labor stuff. I didn't get the fun tractors as a kid, but the ones I did get, never had a radio, so I'd have to be in my own radio. So I'd sing all the old country songs, Johnny Cash, George Jones, and one day I was out on working in the field. I think I was actually hauling manure every spring. That was the thing you did, and you were on spring breaks at school. But I came up with this song, and I was dating my girl at the time. It's called Get a Little Love. That was the first song I ever wrote. And the words just kind of came to me. And I didn't really write them down. I just kind of had them memorized in my head. And I never did write them down. But later when I went to college, I sat down with a good buddy of mine. I had a guitar from my dad, and I never really learned how to play it. I got it when I was a senior in high school. When I went off to college, I was in class with a gentleman who he was in a band. His name was Benny D. He was in the band, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to learn how to play my guitar." And so I had to bring him a bottle of Jim Beam brandy, and he would show me 3 chords, and that was the only guitar lesson I ever really had.
3 chords and Jim Beam. I like that guitar lesson. 3 chords and Jim Beam. I'll have to take that to my fellow students here. 3 chords and Jim Beam. You're a guitar player.
I didn't get any of it. He took the bottle, but he showed me D chord, A7, and G, and that's all I knew for the longest time. And I just kind of picked it up from then, and I wrote that song actually in D, and then later I changed it to E and kind of rockabilied it up a little bit when I started learning to play a little better. But I've kind of taught myself how to play, because when I write music, I don't sit down with the intention of writing music. It's something happens in my life, and when a song comes to me, it just like presents itself really fast. And I think the longest it's ever taken me to write one's like 30 minutes. I'm done. It just kind of comes and bing, bang, boom. And my part is I have the song in my head, and I know I don't do it the way you're supposed to. I think the proper way is to write the music and add the lyrics. All the lyrics come to me, but when I can hear the lyrics, I can hear the music at the same time. And so I had to get better at playing the guitar in order to match the sound I had in my head. And it's been a challenge, but it's made me a better guitar player over the years. And so I'm not sure that's the right way you're supposed to do it, but it's how it works for me. So every song that I've ever written is something about my life that sparks something. And when it comes, it just floods to me. And I've tried to sit down and write a song about something, and I have a difficult time doing it. But when the mood hits me, it comes fast and it's there.
That sounds like it. I mean, you got a great start right there, Todd. And who are your other favorite singers, songwriters, and musicians growing up?
Oh, boy. This is a long list. I mean, I loved Elvis, more so in the later years than Johnny Cash, George Jones, Charlie Pride, one of my all-time favorites. Buck Owens, Waylon Jennings, Old Conway Twitty for sure. And just all the good ones, Farron Young, Webb Pierce, just all back to the Grandolopry, listen to Marty Robbins. I mean, so it's just a whole array of stuff. And I like classic rock and roll, but I've never written that on a song, and it's not what I like to sing, but I like to work out to it. But I don't know if that has any influence on me or not. I mean, Roy Orbison, Buddy Holly. So I like some of that stuff too. So, but like I said, I don't really sit down and try to come up with a sound. It's just whatever comes to me. I can hear it and I play it. And so, but yeah, I like a wider range of music. I don't like heavy metal, and I'm not big into rap, but other than that, I'm pretty good on even classical music and even a little bit of jazz. I can listen to it.
Yeah. You also mentioned going to Grand Ole Opry with your dad as well, too. What was the most memorable Grand Ole Opry concert you've been to, or what can you remember?
Well, I got to back up. I didn't actually go with my dad, but we used to watch it every Friday and Saturday night. It would be on home on a channel. We had a channel we'd watch, and I just sit there and watch it with my dad. So I've never been there. Been by it, but I've never been there. I went down and recorded in Nashville in 2017, and we drove by it, but I never actually got to go to a show yet. So I'm kind of hoping someday I could actually stand there and sing a song on the Grand Ole. That'd be a big dream of mine.
And I think, a great opportunity as well, too, with your country music album featuring Get a Little Love, Don't Go, If I Told You I Love You, and more with the amazing Todd Souhrada. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at soundcloudstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SoundCloud Studios is the answer. SoundCloud Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@soundcloudstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love you to first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews. And even 11 enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forge Riley, and Minims. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, or 40 podcast platforms, heard in 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, also Apple Music and Odyssey, Podbean, Pandora. Also subscribe on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, and more. Take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast, T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today and support the Mike Wagner Show Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. You hear the multi-talented singer-songwriter out of Iowa, Todd Souhrada, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we get into your music, you were involved as a District 9 state trooper as well, too. And, tell us more about your career. So it's like you've been a state trooper and a number of things.
I was a state trooper from 1992 up until 2015, and I retired after 23 years. And then I joined the Navy part-time back in 1998. I ended up doing 11 years of active duty in the reserves, and I did 3 combat tours in Afghanistan and did Libya in 2011. Had 10 overseas tours, and my last duty station was executive officer of a missile defense base. So I retired in 2021, and the same day I retired, I started a security job working for a security company, and called Twin City Security, and then I did that for about 6 months, and I got hired by a contract company that does physical security for the federal buildings all around Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri. As a matter of fact, last weekend I just did a FEMA security job Saturday out in western Iowa because we had a lot of flooding, so our guys get tasked for that. But normally I work in a little town called Decorah. Normally it's an easy job to get up some things.
Okay. Oh, you may want to come up a little closer when you're speaking and everything else too, and stuff like that. And you worked in Iowa and everything like that. So maybe back up the part, after FEMA and what you've done as well too.
What's that, sir?
No, I'm talking about you worked involved with FEMA project in western Iowa, and then you kind of tapered off a little bit.
Yes, I'm sorry. We do support for FEMA and as a security for FEMA when they're in western Iowa because there's a lot of flooding with the last couple of months that we've had out here. So our company not only does security for the federal buildings, but we also get tasked for side jobs for like working for FEMA. And so I put in an 18-hour day here Saturday out in a place called Esterville, Iowa, and very nice people been affected by the floods, and so it's kind of an honor to go out there and kind of help them,
Mm-hmm. And how'd you first get involved with protective services, being a state trooper and serving Navy, everything like that? How'd you first get involved?
Well, I retired from both of those jobs, and the day I retired from the Navy, which was February 1st, 2021, I had contacted a company called Twin City Security, and they hired me the same day. So my last duty that I was doing was I was working on funeral honors for the military for the last 6-8 months before I retired. And on the way home from a funeral in Pfizer, Minnesota, I changed uniforms in Stewartville, Minnesota, and got into a security uniform and started working for them. And I did that for a short time, and then I actually got offered an opportunity to work for this company. Somebody found me, and I think it was LinkedIn, and offered me a job. And so I switched because it was a better job, paid better. And up here in Northeast Iowa, a little town called Decorah. And it's a really beautiful area in Northeast Iowa. And so my wife and I, we moved over, and we live out here in the country now. We had a really nice place. And so that's how I ended up getting this job. I've been doing it for 3 years now. So
that's amazing. And yes, you can get jobs through LinkedIn. It's like I actually heard an actual testimony. It's like I got a job through LinkedIn. Yeah, not Facebook, not Instagram, LinkedIn. There's a testament right there, folks, if you're out job hunting. So
yeah.
And plus, you also earned a nice award too, the Sullivan Brothers Award of Valor. And tell us more about that.
Yeah. Back in 2008, there was a tornado went through Parkersburg, Iowa. And it just happened to be the state trooper that had a storm, and I drove down the storm to make sure to check on things. And I just happened to see the tornado touch down, and as it started to do damage and proceed towards a couple of towns called Appleton and Parkersburg, Iowa. And I was able to call it in, and it just happened to be graduation weekend and graduation afternoon. And so the alarms went off. It kind of missed Appleton, but it hit dead center on Parkersburg, Iowa. And the alarms got off in time that people took shelter, and the damage to human life was minimal, even though they did lose a few people, and that's too many, but it could have been a lot worse. And I rolled into town, and trees were still falling, power lines were falling, and dust was still settling. And matter of fact, my car at one point had to stop because I was getting pummeled by trees and corn stalks, and I was following the thing too closely. But there was a home where a couple of people were trapped, and I jumped into the basement and rescued the man. And I think he was like around 400 pounds. He was a big man. And
Wow.
When I jumped down into the basement, I had nails come through the floor into my shoes, and we were able to get him out on a ladder. And he mentioned to me that he had a sister in a rubble pile that needed rescuing. And so I climbed up in the rubble pile and was able to climb in to help her. And I don't know how long it took. It seemed like an eternity. But swallowed a lot of natural gas and got cut up pretty good, but was able to help that nice lady out. And she's still alive. She lives in Parkersburg, Iowa. She has a family now, and very nice lady. And her name's Karen. And I haven't talked to her in a long time, but as I was hoisting her up out of there, part of the building came down, landed on my back, and caused me some damage to my back that has been a problem over the years. And but got her out, and then we commenced on basically securing the town, evacuating the city, and I was the last guy to leave the town, and I drove myself to the hospital and ended up being off for several months for injuries or burned my lungs and had an injury to my back. And so later, the award came later on. I had actually written up the volunteer fire department for their part in helping rescue these people, and 4 other people, and that I got. I put them in for the Sullivan Brothers Award, and I did not know until after they issued the Sullivan Brothers Award to the firemen. I was invited to come down to the volunteer firemen. I was invited to come down to the state capitol, and they actually issued me the award, and I didn't know I was getting it. So, and then because I was technically on military duty, because I was supposed to be going on military at 4 o'clock, and I ended up not going because I ended up being on this. I was kind of doing double duty. And I ended up getting a Navy Marine Corps Medal for heroism from the Navy for that action, too, for saving those people, for putting my life in danger. I was the only one to climb down into the building to get them out. And a lot of gas, could have blew up. And I got hurt, got cut up a lot. I had 7 nail holes in my back from trying to wedge that lady out. And I pushed up on a timber, and the nails came through, and I didn't realize what the stingers were in my back at the time. Until I got home and took my vest off, and I still have the vest shield. It's purple from my own blood, but I had like 7 holes across my back. I don't really see them anymore, but it's kind of painful. But it was a sad time. It was an entire town of about 5,000 people, and it took a better part of the city away, and it's rebuilt today, and a lot of people are there, and they bounced back pretty good. I don't live there anymore. I moved away here in 2021, but my wife and family and we lived there for 28 years. So,
wow, that was something. I think that's something you should write about. Besides your other music, maybe think of it. Write about what happened. I think that'd be a pretty big hit for you.
Yeah, I don't know how you put that one. Where's maybe it'll come to me someday.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure it does, too. And, of course, you also got some other music as well, too, with Souhrada Country as well, too. We'll find out what songs out there. We'll find out in 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Messing. We'll be back with the multi-talented singer-songwriter from Iowa, Todd Souhrada, after this time out.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hi, I'm Burl Baer, legendary American author, and I'm here to tell you about Missing, the new mystery suspense novel by Mia Mosensia. It's really a good book. Very surprising. Never metaphor I didn't like, especially in this book. Here you have a main character whose life has been filled with despair. His wife died in 9/11. His young daughter died of a rare disease. He's not a happy camper. What does he do for a living? He's a physical fitness trainer. When somebody hardly knows, somebody he's never met, he only has encountered them on an internet chat line, goes missing, this is his journey. He's going to go rescue rescue them. This is his search for redemption, his search for his own personal promised land. He couldn't do anything about the death of his wife, the death of his child, but maybe he could rescue this woman he's never met. That is, if she exists. Missing by me and Mosinzia, international in scope, vastly entertaining, full of surprises. I suggest you get it, either paperback or an electronic edition for your Kindle. Missing by me and Mosinzia.
There's nothing like summer smooth jazz and R&B night at the View Music Bar. Join us Sunday, August 25th at 7:30 for a night filled with smooth jazz stars like Billboard charting artist Niels, award-winning songwriter and musician Michael Garvin, UK's top charting soulful artist Joe Levy, our very own SoCal's hitmaker, trumpeter CTK, and smooth jazz award-winning international charting vocalist Heidi Tan.
Spending all my nights, all my money going out of the town.
Don't miss this unforgettable evening at the View Music Bar and Lounge. Sponsored by Skin Protocol Med Spa, Fast Fix Jewelry and Watch Repairs, East Coast Artist Agency, Jazz Club Radio, Worldwide Jazz Radio, So Jazzy Radio, and 96.9 The Oasis. Tickets available on the Venmo app and Eventbrite. Sunday, August 25th for a smooth summer jazz and R&B night.
The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Illuminatical, the think tank of the future. Illuminatical, a human think tank that brings scientists and engineers together from all over the world, has created a method to construct a renewable generator with this in mind. This unique product operates on a closed-loop system that generates more energy internally than it needs to function. The extra electricity can be used to run everything from homes and power grids to phones and laptops. This power source is entirely renewable, highly scalable, and more importantly, self-regenerating. For more information, visit facebook.com/illuminatical. That's facebook.com/ELLUMENIPTICAL today. The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Serena Wagner's book, The Sweet Psalmist, now available on Amazon. This book includes 30 exquisite paintings by well-known and unknown painters and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives us a new perspective on his life in this book. Through the Psalms he wrote, his time as a shepherd in the field is where the book starts, and it goes on to describe his complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul as well as other events. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. It also offers advice on approaching God and living a life that pleases Him. Check out the book, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, now available on Amazon. Keywords, Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to The Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
Wagner Show and, act of service and everything else. And now he's got his own country music album. And, we talked about Get a Little Love and quite more. And, talk to us more about the album and what inspired you to write your own album.
What'd you say, sir?
I said talk to us more about the Souhrada country music album. We talked about love and maybe a bit more about what got you going on it.
Like I said, music just kind of comes to me. And the third song on the album is called If I Told You I Loved You. Was the second song that I wrote, and back in college, and my girlfriend, who's now my wife, was just cooking dinner one night, and I sat down with the guitar, and I just started farting around, and that song came to me, and I wrote it down, and so it's on there, and people seem to like it. It's kind of a little love song. And then the second song on there is called Don't Go. I was being deployed back in 2014, and I'd been deployed, 8-9 times at that time, and it was my third trip to Afghanistan, and it's a very difficult thing. I don't know if people could ever understand what it's like to drop your civilian job, drop everything you have, including your family and your responsibilities, and pack everything up in a bag and climb on a plane and disappear for a year and not know if you're going to come home again. And I did that several times, and because my country asked me to. And but that last time I was packed up and ready to go, and it was the third time I'd gone to combat that way, and she when you're in the reserves, you don't go as a unit, you go as a single person, so you get called up and you go augment whatever active duty's there. So that's why I was going by myself. They just call you up and say, hey, you got 8 hours to be so and so place, and boom. For the job that I did, and I was good at what I did, got my name requested about 8 or 9 times by generals and admirals to go augment forces, and sometimes I thought it was a curse to be good at what I did, but I was proud of what I did, and I still didn't end very well. But I still have issues about that. But anyway, we're at the airport, and we're hugging, and you're doing that final goodbye, and I remember hugging her. She said, I know you got to go, but I don't want you to go. And I turned to walk away, and I just about got on the call it catwalk or whatever to get on the airplane, and I heard her say, "Don't go." And it just kind of hit me right in the pit of my stomach. And I got on the airplane, and you put all your bags and everything away, and you get seated down, and the song started coming to me. And I looked at the stewardess, and I said, I need something to write on. And I said, can I get up? She said, no. I said, she says, you can't. We're getting ready to take off. I said, I need something to write on. I don't care what you have, just something to write on. And she came back, I kid you not, she came back with a white vomit paper sack and a pencil.
I was going to say, I gave you a bunch of napkins. That's the first thing in mind. Can you just give me a napkin or something I can bug you?
I know. I wrote that entire song from Cedar Rapids to Chicago, which is like a 42-minute flight. And I was done long before we got there. But that whole vomit sack, I had written on every fold of that sack with a pencil. And then once I got over there and I started working on it and stuff and putting music to it, it all fell into place. But yeah, that's how I wrote that one. So
at least that song didn't make you sick. That's one thing. So.
Well, I hope not. But people seem to like it. It's got a good ring to it. But there's a song on there called "The Bells."
Mm-hmm.
It's a gospel song. And my mother was killed in 1974 when I was just before my 8th birthday. And my father was in the hospital for several months. And my mom was a big churchgoer, and we'd go every Sunday. Well, she was no longer there. My dad wasn't there. And so on Sunday mornings, I would walk cross country 3 miles through the snow and through the creeks and sit by my mother's headstone. And I would sit there and listen to the church bells ring on Sunday mornings after chores. And I felt so alone that we were part of such a world, and then after she was gone, it's like you were no longer part of that world, and I kind of felt like people forgot about me. And it was several years before we started going back again, and I think I actually started going back by myself. And I think it was 14, and I drove myself down there the first time, and I remember walking into the church, and the song is about what people said to me the first time I walked into the church after coming back, and it's a very touching song because I realized that the people didn't forget about us. We just weren't there. They never stopped praying for us. And that's what the song is about. And although I didn't realize when I wrote it, if you listen to it, it kind of mimics a Johnny Cash song. But if you listen to it, you might hear it. But I didn't realize it when I wrote it until somebody said something. But there wasn't no intention behind it. It's supposed to sound like bells, but it's the intro to it kind of sounds like an intro to a Johnny Cash song. So I didn't know that. But
that's really interesting. And also have Why Do You Love Me? And also Anna's song as well. I think it made some mention of that too. That's a very special one for you.
So Anna, our daughter, she was our second oldest. She passed away in 2005. And you could talk a long time about this, but I had a neighbor come over a couple of weeks after she passed away. And I don't know, I wrote the song, and I hope that it brings comfort to anybody that's a part of the I Lost a Child Club, because there's nothing more painful you'll ever have to endure. And I was just hurting. And the neighbor stopped over, and she was a elder at the church, and she asked me if there's anything she could do for me. And I said, well, if you can give me my daughter back for 5 minutes so I could tell her I loved her, I appreciate that. And I didn't mean to be a smart aleck. I was just hurting a lot. And she looked at me very serious. Yeah, she looked at me very serious, and she was a very nice lady. And she said, well, that's why we pray to God, Todd, so that he'll tell her for us. And that stuck with me. And I went to work that night, and I came home, and I worked a midnight shift. I got off about 6 in the morning, and I went to bed when the kids all went to school. And I laid in the bed, and I was sleeping, sort of, and all of a sudden the song popped into my head within an hour going to sleep, and I jumped up, and I had to write it down. I wrote it down, and it's a very powerful song, especially if you're somebody that's lost it. And it doesn't have to be a child. I think you can subvert, for her, for a he, and you could put a dad or a mom or whatever in the song, and it all, the pain all fits. And so it's a very powerful song, and at least I think it is. And it's a matter of fact, it's out on it's still out on Airplay Express right now, and it's been on Airplay Express for like 3 months.
Wow!
And it's still getting a lot of coverage around the world and streaming that way. And so I've got a lot of plays out of that, and so But that's that song. What was the other one you asked me about? If I told you I loved you?
I think was it Why Do You Love Me? I think that's
Why Do You Love Me? So I was
Why Do You Love Me? That's it.
I was in Japan for 27 months. I was only supposed to go for 92 days, and I did a really good job, and the Admiral kept me for 27 months. And so I was coming home, and I told my wife, I called her up on Skype to tell her I was coming home. And I had to call her back the next day because between the time I told her I was coming home and the day later, I found out that 14 days after I was coming home, I was going to Afghanistan for the third time.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of a difficult phone call. And, I can remember seeing the pain in her eyes when I had to tell her that. And she took it, as well as anybody could take it. And she was always so supportive and still is. And I got off the phone and I thought, man, some days I wonder why she loves me. And that song just came to me. And I wrote that in Japan, sitting in my little apartment out in the city, and it didn't take me very long. And that's how I wrote that song. So,
and plus, you also have some other music like "I Want to Go Home," "Stoned on Your Memory," "I'm a Man," and "Father Hold My Hand" to pretty much complete.
I want to go home. Well, I want to go home. I was at Kabul, Afghanistan, at ISAF headquarters, and I don't know if you've been deployed, you've been away for a long time, and you've been a part of it gets to you after a while. Sometimes you've had enough. And it was my third time, and I'd had enough, and at least at that moment. So there was a place there, we called it the Rock Chapel. It was basically just a tin shed with a roof. And we go in there, and I actually sang for them sometimes, and we had religious ceremonies there, and they had bands and stuff. As a matter of fact, I made really good friends with a gentleman from the Netherlands. And he played bass for me when we were there. And he's actually come to the States to play bass for me here, too.
Oh, nice.
Good friend. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, they were looking for an excuse for him to come back. But anyways, I just went into the Rock Chapel, and I picked up a guitar one day, and I just started to play. And the words, I Want to Go Home, came out. And actually, I thought it was going to be a country song. I started singing. And within seconds, the words of the gospel just came out. And it ended up being a gospel song. And it didn't take me very long to write it. I mean, I didn't even really write it. Just played it. The words came to me, and I didn't even write it down. I just remembered it. So every time I go to the Rock Chapel, I would just sing it. And I thought, geez, I ought to write that down. So I wrote it down after a couple of weeks. That's how that song came. Stoned on Your Memory is an interesting song. I don't want to get too negative on my phone interview here, but
it's perfectly okay. It's okay to talk about. You're safe with us.
So way back in the day, my wife and I were dating. Her mom had moved to Arizona, and she stayed behind. She graduated college and was going to college. And I was pressured, we'll put it that way, to my family to let my girlfriend go because they thought she'd go back to Arizona to be with her family. And I got a lot of pressure from my stepmother and my father at that time they didn't think that was a good idea. So temporarily I broke up with her, and about 2 weeks, and I was working on the farm, and I was really miserable, and I was a young man in college and wasn't very happy. And I wrote this song when I was out picking rocks one day on the farm, kind of myself, just in my head. And I only wrote one verse to it, the first verse and the chorus line. And anyway, after a couple of weeks, I called her up. We got together and said, the heck with it. We've been married almost 40 years now. I think over 38 years now.
Wow.
And so in October, so best thing I ever did. But the song just kind of stayed in my head. And I always thought it was a great George Jones song. I always wanted to sell it to George Jones, and he sort of passed away. That never happened. And so many years go by, like 30 years go by, and I'm recording in 2017. And a guy named Robbie Witowski is the guy that actually helped me record my album in Nashville. And he says, you had 5 gospel songs, you had 4 country songs. He said, I need another country song. And I said, well, I got this song in my head that I wrote a long time ago. And he said, play it for me. So I picked up the car, and I just played him that one verse and chorus line. He said, we got to have it. And I said, well, there's only one problem. I only have one verse. He said, finish the song and hurry up. We got to put that on the album. All right. Well, it's very, very difficult to write a very heartbreaking, sad love song about a woman you've been married to for 32 years.
Right, yeah, and of course, for so much time, you got to do it.
Oh, yeah, so I went to
ultimate
the
challenge. I dare anybody to do that.
I went to the cabin, and I had to put myself back in my mindset that I was at when I wrote the song. I'm not as happy about the second verse, but I really think the third verse is a very powerful. It's probably the best verse of the whole song. And the funny part of this story was I came back and I recorded the song, a demo, put it down there. But we went down and recorded it. And when you get done with your recording session, you sit with all the musicians and the producers, and you sit in a room and you listen to the whole album. And so if you want to make a change, you have to make a change. Well, my wife was invited to sit in, and she was sitting there when the song came on. And I remember her tapping me on the arm, and I looked at her, and she gave me this dirty look. She's like, "Who's that song about?" And I'd written so long ago, I forgot what it was about. I just knew I had a song, and I couldn't tell her at the time, and so I think she was a little upset about it. But a couple of weeks after we went home after recording, I was up mowing lawn, and she was mowing lawn, and I remembered why I wrote the song, and I ran over there and told her why I wrote the song, and it came back to me, and now it's one of her favorite songs on the album, so it's kind of a funny story.
Oh, my gosh, that does sound like it. Yeah, and of course, you also got I'm a Man and Father Hold My Hand, too. Wrap
so
up
I'm a Man. Well, let me do I'm a Man last. So Father Hold My Hand. I was having a rough day in the State Patrol, and some days, when you're in public service, it's a tough day. And so when I did that, I would always go to the woods. And I got up Saturday morning, and I went to the woods, and it was snowing really hard. It was like in end of March, close to April, about Easter time. And I just go to the woods and think, and I was out cutting wood and doing things. And as I was kind of feeling sorry for myself, that life was kind of dealing me a hard day, I looked up and I saw a cross, a tree branch in the perfect shape of a cross. And it made me stop, and I shut my chainsaw off, and I set it down, and I got to thinking to myself, no matter how bad my days are, no matter what I've been through, nothing beats what Jesus went through the day he died on the cross. And so I thought, I can't compete with that, and I should be very thankful that he was there and died for me. And so these words start coming to me, and I took a stick in about a foot of fresh snow, and it's snowing really hard. I wrote this entire song in the snow, with a snow with a stick.
How do you like that?
And then I decided it was a good song, so I had to run like a half a mile down the hill and grab a piece of paper and a pen from my truck and run. I was tired. Went all the way back up there, and I got the song written down, and it's very powerful. I have it played at Easter every year, and I released it at Easter, and I made it to number one on the Airplay Express charts.
Nice.
And I haven't released it with Caden yet, so it's coming sometime. Mm-hmm. But the song means a lot to me. But it's about the crucifix of Christ, and how he saw it from his eyes is how I wrote the song. So I think it's a pretty powerful song. I played it for Easter Sunday this year, and people really liked it. So the last song on the album. What's that, sir?
That is powerful.
Yes, sir. And then the last song on the album is a song called I Am a Man. And this song, I have a hard time playing and singing because I get really emotional on it. But I retired from the State Patrol back in 2015, and I was still working for the Navy. I had 6 years left to go and finish out my Navy time. And I was actually assigned to I was one of the first Navy Reserve guys to get my intel watch, 4 stars watch down at Scott Air Force Base, and I was driving back and forth from Illinois to home on the weekends, and I get a day off or two, and I go home, and I was on my way home. It was about midnight, 1 in the morning. I'm coming up the interstate. I just gotten off shift, and you start thinking about retiring from the State Patrol and retiring from the Navy soon, and you realize that all the awards and all the accolades and all the things that you've done in your life, even though they're good and they're great accomplishments, you realize in the end that none of that really matters, because when life ends, the only thing that really matters is the memories you make with your family and the love you have for God, because without God, there is no life afterwards. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of religious, but I'm not trying to push it on. I'm not trying to push it on anybody.
With us here, don't worry.
All right, I'm not trying to push it on anybody. It's just my feelings. But so in my heart, it's the love of God that it's the only thing you really have left. And so the words to the song called I Am a Man, it's how I feel about life in general, about who I am. And the line of the song is, I am a man. It's all that I am. And it talks about how I need Jesus in my life. And it's a pretty powerful little song. And so I wanted to end with that one because sometimes when I sing it, I get a little emotional, and I get emotional talking about it. But so I've been through a lot of things in my life. I should have died many times in state patrol, at least once or twice, and several times in combat. Why I'm still here, I don't know. But that's why that song means so much to me. And I hope someday when I do pass over that I do go in the right direction, and God can forgive me for all the things that I've done. So some days you wonder when you're at war if the things that you did were right or wrong, but we did what we were supposed to do.
I think that's a really powerful testament right there. And of course, if there's other music you want to talk about, feel free to do so.
I'm writing a lot of songs right now. I'm writing a song right now. It's called "I'd Be a Better Man," and it's about my life. And you think back as a parent, and as a friend, and as a husband, that we don't always do things perfectly right. And the song is about I'd be a better man if I could live my life again. And I learned about drop D. I had this song in my head, and I couldn't finish it because I couldn't get the music to match it, because it needed a deep bass kind of sound. I started playing drop D, and right away it fit, and I came up with the music for the lyrics, and it matched. So I have that one in the can. Right now I'm waiting to record another album. I did a song over in when I was over in Poland. It's a song about coffee. Have you ever been to Europe? They're big into their coffees.
Oh, I believe it. I believe I'm ready for some myself. So you hit my magic button right there, Todd. You hit my magic button.
It's a song about all the different kinds of coffees, mochas and cappuccinos, and it's kind of a fun little beepy song that it's just kind of an upbeat, kind of a fun song. I got a song. It's called "Call 911." She stole my heart, and it's about my wife when we were younger. And it's just kind of it's a song about my life, but where I was sitting and how that all kind of went down. And so I have a song, another gospel song. It's the only other gospel song that I have that I haven't recorded yet, but it's called "The Power of His Love," and I wrote that one, so I'd like to record that sometime. And geez, I don't know. I got a song about aging. It's kind of fun as you get older, all the struggles that we have as we get older. So, I'm working on that one, and I'm in the process of writing 2 other songs, and I have the lyrics down. And this song is a really powerful song, and I really hope I can finish it for the military.
Okay.
But I haven't really named it, but it's a song about why are they gone? Why am I here, and why are they gone? In other words, why did I get spared in combat my friends? And so very powerful song. The problem is I've got the lyrics down, and I can't figure out how to play it on the guitar, so I can't figure out what key it's in, and it's difficult, but I'm working on it. So and then the other song I have it's a song about time. And one of the lines in the song is time is my enemy. Because as you get older, you realize that time is your enemy. And it really robs your youth, and it really robs a lot of things from your life, and eventually it does take your life. It's time, because we all fight time. And so those are the songs that I'm working on. I have a few other ones, but those are the most notable ones. And I have enough to do another album, and I'm trying to get it done here in the next year. Caden is helping me re-release some of the songs to some of his outlets, because I have a guy named Bobby G. Rice. I'm sure you're familiar with Bobby G. Rice. He had 30 charted hits back in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, and he had his 80th birthday here 2 weekends ago.
Oh, happy
and I
birthday
actually got to sing with him on stage, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. He asked me to come sing with him, so that was kind of fun. But he's promoting my stuff, and we're going to do another album, and I'm hopefully going to have him do a little bit of a harmony on some of my songs. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. And so I'm looking forward to that, and to get that done here in the next year. But Bobby's released most of my songs. We still have a couple songs left to release, and Caden's re-releasing to some of his outlets, which is how I got in touch with you. And thank you so much for the interview, by the way. And I would be happy to come back on and talk to you any other time.
Sounds great. And you know something, too? I mean, you've got a heartwarming story right there, down to earth and everything else. I mean, you touched my heart right there, Todd. So I got to say,
thank you, sir.
Not a problem. And we're with the amazing multi-talented Todd Souhrada here on the Mike Wagner Show with his country album. We encourage you to check it out. And where can we find your website and our music at, Todd?
Well, I have my Facebook page, which is Souhrada Country, Todd Souhrada, and I have two pages. I have my own page. I actually have my music page, which is Souhrada Country, but you can find me as Todd Souhrada on Facebook, and I have an eagle on my page, so that is me. If you don't know what I look like, and then my music is out on Spotify, iTunes, CD Baby, YouTube, a lot of hits on YouTube, and soon, hopefully here by September, it's going to be on iHeartRadio. So,
all right.
Yeah.
We'll certainly check that out as well, too. And just a couple more things, Todd. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Wow, you stumped me on that one. I don't know. I can't. It's for what I write or just my desire to sing?
It can be either or. It can be in general.
Boy, I don't know how to answer that. I'm sorry. You kind of stumped me on that one. I don't. There's so many reasons why. I can answer that question. Yes, I can. It's my mom.
Okay.
And I don't mean to tell a sad story, but if you got a couple of minutes, I was 7 years old when my mom passed away. It was just before my 8th birthday. And I loved music, and she knew I loved music. And my mom was like my grandma. She would walk around the house and she would sing gospel songs, and she could play the piano. And I'd love to sit there and listen to her. So she asked me if I wanted to learn music. And I said, I wanted to. Sure, Mom. And she said, your brothers aren't interested in it, but she said, I will teach you if you want to know. I said, yes, I would. And whatever the conversation was, I was little, I just remember she sat me on the piano and I had a music lesson, and she showed me middle C on the piano. It was my only music lesson I ever got.
Oh,
and
wow.
my mother was tragically killed shortly thereafter. And I shied away from learning how to play piano because it was too painful. And I look back at my life, I wish I had seen it in a different light, and I wish I had learned. But I try to do the best I can with the guitar. Maybe someday I'll learn piano, but I haven't perfected the guitar yet. So, But my mom, I think, was my influence for music. She would sing in church, and she was such an inspiration for people. And you could ask anybody, you could hear my mom singing above everybody in church, and I remember that. And so I think a lot of the music that over the years, especially when I first started out, the reason I would sing the songs and the songs that meant the most to me were the songs that reminded me of my mom. She was from northern Wisconsin, and we would travel back and forth, and my dad would play the good old country music. And when all those songs would come on, Porter Wagoner and Dolly Parton and Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn, Charlie Pride was my mom's favorite. And I remember listening, especially Charlie Pride. I remember listening to those songs, and it reminded me of my mom. And I'm going to tell one more quick story about this, and I won't beat a horse, but after she passed away, her favorite singer was Charlie Pride, and we had a 8-track player, if you can remember what 8-track player.
Oh, I remember those things. My dad had them in every vehicle, every camper, every room in the house. The 8-track, those are great.
She had an album. She had an 8-track of Charlie Pride singing gospel hymns, and I actually have it in the basement, but I don't have an 8-track player. But I have the 8-track tape. And after she passed away, I would lay out there by the stereo, and I'd put that 8-track in, and I would turn it down low so nobody could hear it, and I would lay there and sleep next to that speaker and listen to Charlie Pride and remember my mom. And there's a song on there that it's called I'm going to draw a blank. Without Mama Here. And I sang it for church here for Mother's Day. It talks about how mother passed away and she's no longer here, but she's with God and the angels, sitting at the table. And so, yeah, that would be my greatest inspiration, would be my mom.
Oh, very inspiring. I mean, gotta love moms, I'll tell you. It's oh, boy, inspiring, I'll tell you. And lastly, what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point? So,
did you ask me a question?
I'm sorry. Yeah, what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Oh, best advice, Boyle. Don't quit on your dreams. I'm just doing this because I enjoy music, and I had to raise a family. I raised a family, and I had to have my jobs, and I did what I wanted to do. But I always wanted to sing, and I always thought I could be good at it. But, you know, when you have a wife and kids, you have to be responsible and you have to do what you need to do. But don't ever give up on your dreams. Don't ever give up on your hobbies. Keep it alive. When I was home, I would get back to playing again and I would leave and it would kind of suffer. But now my thing is in retirement, even though I have a job, I want to do what I can do with music because it's been a goal and a dream of mine. And you should never give up because the only day that you're done with your dreams is the day that you're no longer breathing. And you don't want to look back on your life and say, I wish I'd have done this or I wish I would have done that. You know, never give up.
Right, and that's a really good piece of advice right there, Todd. Once again, with the multi-talented singer-songwriter from Iowa, Todd Souhrada, here on the Mike Wagner Show at Souhrada Country. Todd, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic, very heartwarming.
Oh, thank you, sir.
No problem. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'll love to have you back. Once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your music?
Get on my Facebook page. If you want to request a CD, I sell CDs. You can download all the music on the onlines that I was telling you about, the streamings. And I don't actually have a web page yet, but I'm doing everything off of Facebook because it's just a little cheaper right now. But I only have myself, and it's hard to keep up with all this.
Just don't tell Mark Zuckerberg it's cheap, okay? Just don't tell him.
Yeah, well, yeah, no kidding. Don't say anything. He'll start charging me.
Oh, there you go. Or he might block you too, or unfriend you.
Oh, geez,
So,
yeah. Well, there you go.
I know how it goes. We love Facebook. But anyway, Todd, just totally amazing. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep
yes, sir.
Laugh, have you back. Wish all best. And Todd, you definitely have a great future to have you.
Thank you, sir. Stay in touch. I'll have to hear from you again. I come back on your show anytime.
I just want to get a little, got to give a little if I'm gonna get a little bit of her love. 'Cause she's the only girl that I am thinking of. Every night I hold her tight inside my dreams and then I cry. 'Cause I know that she will never be here by my side. I want to hold her, I got to hold her. Oh, if I could hold her, I'd hold her so tight. And if I could hold you, babe, well, I'd hold you with all of my might. And if she stood next to me, I'd be as proud as I could be. 'Cause now there's nothing left to hide, my dear. I want you here by my side. If I could love her, I'd love her tonight. And if I could love you, babe, well, I'd love you with all of my mind. And if love still makes you blind, I'm just as blind as I can be. 'Cause now without her love, there's no love, and there'll be no love left for me. I just want to get a little, got to give a little if I'm gonna get a little bit of her love. And she's the only girl that I am thinking of. Every night I hold her tight inside my dreams and then I cry. 'Cause I know that she will never be here by my side. Every night I hold her tight inside my dreams and then I cry. 'Cause I know that she will never be here by my side.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hi, I'm Burl Bear, legendary American author, and I'm here to tell you about Missing, the new mystery suspense novel by Mian Mosensia. It's really a good book. Very surprising. Never metaphor I didn't like, especially in this book. Here you have a main character whose life has been filled with despair. His wife died in 9/11. His young daughter died of a rare disease. He's not a happy camper. What does he do for a living? He's a physical fitness trainer. When somebody hardly knows, somebody he's never met, he only has encountered them on an internet chat line, goes missing. This is his journey. He's going to go rescue them. This is his search for redemption, his search for his own personal promised land. He couldn't do anything about the death of his wife, the death of his child, but maybe he can rescue this woman he's never met. That is, if she exists. Missing by Mian Mosensia, international in scope, vastly entertaining, full of surprises. I suggest you get it, either paperback or an electronic edition for your Kindle. Missing by Mian Mosensia.
There's nothing like summer smooth jazz and R&B night at the View Music Bar. Join us Sunday, August 25th at 7:30 for a night filled with smooth jazz stars like Billboard charting artist Niels, award-winning songwriter and musician Michael Garvin, UK's top charting soulful artist Joe Levy, our very own SoCal's hitmaker, trumpeter CTK, and smooth jazz award-winning international charting vocalist Heidi Tan.
Spending all my nights, all my money going out of the town.
Don't miss this unforgettable evening at the View Music Bar and Lounge. Sponsored by Skin Protocol Med Spa, Fast Fix Jewelry and Watch Repairs, East Coast Artist Agency, Jazz Club Radio, Worldwide Jazz Radio, So Jazzy Radio, and 96.9 The Oasis. Tickets available on the Venmo app and Eventbrite. Sunday, August 25th for a smooth summer jazz and R&B night.
The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Illuminatical, the think tank of the future. Illuminatical, a human think tank that brings scientists and engineers together from all over the world, has created a method to construct a renewable generator with this in mind. This unique product operates on a closed-loop system that generates more energy internally than it needs to function. The extra electricity can be used to run everything from homes and power grids to phones and laptops. This power source is entirely renewable, highly scalable, and more importantly, self-regenerating. For more information, visit facebook.com/Illuminatical. That's facebook.com/ELLUMENIPTICAL today. The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Serena Wagner's book, The Sweet Psalmist, now available on Amazon. This book includes 30 exquisite paintings by well-known and unknown painters and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives us a new perspective on his life in this book. Through the Psalms he wrote, his time as a shepherd in the field is where the book starts, and it goes on to describe his complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul as well as other events. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. It also offers advice on approaching God and living a life that pleases Him. Check out the book, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, now available on Amazon. Keywords, Sweet Psalmist, Serena Wagner.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartradio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.